let's not forget Mini Block. Yeah, so we wanted to make sure we updated everybody. It broke last night, so we didn't have the ability to slot it on the little bottom graphic. But Elizabeth Holmes has gone ahead and been convicted of 4 out of the 11 counts. Now, I looked into this and I said, what exactly is going on here? So here's what happened. 4 of the counts of wire fraud, specifically against investors, were ones where Holmes was found guilty by the jury. On 3 of the counts of wire fraud, there was no verdict reached. The jury was deadlocked on those. And then on 4 of the counts of wire fraud, but specifically towards bad marketing, she was found not guilty. Now, in terms of the actual charges of which she was found guilty, those 4 specifically on wire fraud of defrauding of her investors. Now, on those in particular, here's what they said. There is a maximum of 20 years on each count. So I guess technically she faces up to 80 years in prison. However, most people who are convicted of wire fraud like this, multiple counts and specifically, usually serve them concurrently. And then even then, I think the average time served is usually like 2 years for somebody of this charge. The government will probably bring a bigger case against Miss Holmes for why she should spend more time in prison. But that's what happened. Personally, I don't know how the hell she even got found not guilty on 4 of these.
Any of it.
One of them was on defrauding patient. Look, when I wasn't on the jury. I trust the legal system generally, or at least juries, much more than I trust other people. She was specifically not found guilty of defrauding patients.
Yeah,
which, if you read the book, Bad Blood, and all the cases here, people made real-time medical decisions with her bullshit tests. And that's actually, people were like, why do you care so much about defrauding rich people? Honestly, I don't, in terms of those people. I care about those people who had to make bad medical decisions based upon her BS blood test. That has always been the #1 way that she harmed, normal folks who trusted her technology.
Yeah, that is what stood out to me as well, is she was convicted, some of the charges she was convicted all pertain to the investors. Yeah. And she was found not guilty on all the charges that pertain to the patients who were depending on these tests to make, real-time health and medical decisions. So kind of a mixed bag in terms of an outcome, but she was found guilty and will serve probably some time. In prison, so there is some justice here. And I mean, the reason this case has been interesting is because it intersects with our culture, it intersects with media. I mean, media really wanted to believe in this girl boss story. Oh, yeah. She very intentionally played up all of that, even like dressing like Steve Jobs, wanting to be portrayed as the female Steve Jobs, this young woman. I mean, they just were all in on the narrative of it. And very few journalists had the sort of technical background or expertise to actually dig into whether this worked. John Carreyrou obviously was the person at the Wall Street Journal who blew this whole thing open and started digging. And ultimately that leads to finding out that what was supposed to be happening is you draw this little prick of blood and you're supposed to be able to do they have these groundbreaking machines that are going to test for all these different things with this little vial of blood. Well, what they were really doing was that test only worked for a couple of different things. Everything else, they were just using existing machines from other companies. They're screwing up the results oftentimes because it was all done so sloppily. And not only that, but of course, wildly misleading their investors to believe that they're pushing this technology forward. They had a who's who, very prominent people who were involved, who were on the board, who were supporting. And
Henry Kissinger.
Again, people wanted to believe the story, and she understood the way to play the media and make herself into a superstar. And then the other pieces like the culture of Silicon Valley, which is this sort of like fake it till you make it, where there's a very thin line from being, a bold and audacious world-changing entrepreneur and just being like a con man and a charlatan.
To defend them, and which I will rarely do, she was lying though. It's like she was a liar in terms of her machine. It didn't work. At the end of the day, they knew it didn't work, raised money for a machine that didn't work, sold a machine that didn't work to Walgreens that actual patients then ended up using, which had screwed up data. Unforgivable, in my opinion. I could care less about the rich folks, but they have rights too. But when it comes to those people, and I read about them, who thought they had allergies or made bad medical decisions and themselves got screwed up because of her tech, screw her. So she deserves to spend a long time in prison.
Yeah.
She really does.
Yes, she does. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.